Okay, now we're getting to the patches without using a texture can, without using a can, and without having to use a big compressor and a big hopper. This is my setup that I've been using for patches for probably the good last year and a half, okay? I have a whole nother video about this. This is the Wagner texture spray gun. It's 3 to 6 pieces depending on how you want to look at it. It has the little hopper here, it has the handle on the body here, and this is the compressor. I think it's called centrifugal force. I don't know how to say it. But it sucks the air in from outside. It comes through here. It just sucks in the surrounding air, and that's what pushes it out. So when you mix this up, it has to be a little bit more watery than normal, just because it's being forced air from its ambient air, something like that. And so it'll push it out. So that's 3 pieces: your hopper, your body, and your compressor part. The other 3 pieces, if you want to look at it as 6 pieces, are the nozzles that it comes with, right? So orange is basically your knockdown, black is like an orange peel, and then your white is like your Cusco sealing. So I rarely ever use this one. I mainly use these 2, and even depending on how I mix my mud, if I mix it a little bit thicker or a little bit thinner, I can still use either one. So I've set it behind us. This is the DAP patch with the texture can, and I didn't want to get the spray onto this or onto the smaller patches that are above it. So I just rigged it up where on this side, I'm going to use the heavier knockdown one for these 2 patches. And then on this side, for those 2 patches, I'm just going to use the orange pill one. So that's my setup. You obviously need an extension cord because this is, I don't know, maybe 18 inches, I guess, is this wire. So you definitely need an extension cord. And then the only other thing I use is I'll use my my cordless drill with the paddle. It's in another video also. It's in the paint section, but I use it to mix mud. And then I'll use a quart size. I don't know how many quarts this is, but it's a bigger one for the mud. And either you can get the mud from here. Obviously I have a bigger box, so I just scoop the mud out of there and I put it in here. And then a little water bucket. So I just add a little bit of water. Then we mix up. I want a little bit more runny. The consistency is not as runny as water, but I guess kind of like a thinner pancake. A thinner pancake. I want to say liquosity, but I don't know if liquosity is a word. I don't know if you can see that or not. Maybe a little thicker than paint, or about as thick as good paint. Okay. I think that should be all right. Actually, I'm gonna add a little bit more water. So with mixing up, you can always add mud. You can always add water, I guess. So if you get too thick, you can always add water to thin it down. If it's too thin, you can always add mud to thicken it up. So you also have to feel the consistency. Do a practice wall to see if you can match it close enough with a scrap piece of drywall or plastic or paper or something before you actually shoot your patch. Okay, I'm okay with that. So let me move all this out of the way and then we'll get to shooting the patches. Before I move this out of the way, So depending on how big your patch is, the other cool thing is, I forgot to say, is that this turns around. So if you have to do ceilings, this is at an angle for you. And there's a handle right here for your arm to rest on your arm. The buttons here, you turn it on and off. You hold it on your arm, so it kind of rests on your arm, and then it has that angle to it. If you're doing a wall patch, you just turn it and it's straight. So you're going to determine how big your patch is. I've never filled this up fully. I usually go about halfway with my mud, and that covers up most of the patches that I have to cover. I've done up to walls about, I'd say at least 10 by 20, or maybe it was like 11 or 12 by 20. I mean, these are pretty good. It's just you got to keep pouring up. That's the only thing, is you got to keep pouring up. But you would have to do the same thing with the other hoppers. And this keeps more of a consistent pressure because the compressor loses air and then it's got to build back up. So I think it's like a little bit, about $100 more or less, but this is pretty good. Again, this is what I say is in between the cans and the big hopper that you have to buy the compressor, because this compressor already comes with it. It gives you a better, closer match than the cans will. So I don't know, I think it's pretty cool. So then you just take your mixture, you pour it in. I feel like it might be a little bit thick. And right now we're going to start off with using the knockdown. It's the yellow one. We're going to use the knockdown one first, and then I'm just going to switch mid-video to the black one, which is the orange pill, the lighter one. So let's get to it.